So we get on the first flight, and just everyone that's like looking at you when you get on the flight, it's just like, oh God. Like, seriously.
Yeah. Are they all yours? Like, we got that quite a bit.
And on the first flight, so from Savannah...
Gosh, I don't even remember that flight.
It was from Savannah to Charlotte. Super easy. No big deal.
40 minutes.
Nobody cried. It was perfect.
Yeah, it went great. Although the Wi-Fi didn't work, which...
Yeah, but I mean, thank God for Kidopia.
Right.
And that's really all they needed.
Yeah, they just played Kidopia the whole time.
Yeah, it worked perfect.
And it doesn't need Wi-Fi. There's plenty to do.
Tip number 2, make sure you download
something that doesn't need Wi-Fi.
So remember that for the video. Okay. And then, like, as soon as we landed, I get a text message from American Airlines that says, your flight's been delayed. I think it was just a half an hour the first time.
Yeah.
So like, oh, crap. Because we had a 2-hour layover. So that made it a 2.5-hour layover.
Yeah.
And so
which we needed, like, a decent chunk of time to get from A to B.
Yeah.
So, no biggie.
Again,
we had a bit of a layover, but...
Again, the logistics of 5 kids.
Yeah, you don't want a tight connection.
No, especially because we gate checked the 2 car seats and the stroller.
That takes a while.
Yeah, it does.
To get those off of there.
It's at least an extra 15 minutes.
Yeah, if you have a tight connection and you're gate checking stuff, that's gonna...
Yeah, you can't really do it.
No, that's gonna throw a wrench in your plans. Which, in hindsight, I mean, I guess we did use... I feel like the stroller and the car seats, we could take them or leave them. Like, they were nice to have at some points, but they were definitely holding us back big time at other points. Like, I don't think I would take the stroller again.
Really?
Yeah. Knowing what I know now. I mean, we just held the babies the whole time anyway.
Yeah.
If you can feasibly carry all your junk, like, we weren't depending on the stroller to roll our stuff, and we hardly had the babies in it.
Right.
So it was just like, for one, I wanted the car seats there.
Yeah, exactly.
So I wanted to bring them, and I wanted the stroller there.
Mm-hmm.
But...
Which we didn't actually end up using the stroller, like, only twice.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks.
A couple of times.
Was it one of the kids' doors?
I don't know.
Anyway, okay. So we get to the gate, and I get another text message that it's delayed another half an hour. And so we just kind of had the babies sprawled out on the floor.
Bring, like, a mat. If you have babies, bring something for them to lay on. I was just throwing down a swaddle, which wasn't ideal. Having something softer and bigger for them to lay on would have been better.
Exactly.
But how are you going to do that when you're carrying on as much junk as we were?
Right, exactly.
But at least we had seats this time for a couple of us.
Yeah.
That's the first time, literally the first time at a gate we had seats available.
Yeah, because luckily, originally we had like a little over 2-hour layover, so we got there super early.
Yeah.
And so it ended up being just like an hour and 15-minute total delay. So we were at the gate for probably 3 hours.
But while we were at the gate, the guy comes on and is like, the flight whatever to St. Louis is delayed, and we don't have any update as to when it's going to be leaving.
There's a mechanical issue.
That was it.
And that was it.
Like, we don't have an estimated departure time now. So, oh my gosh.
Oh.
Eloise,
what are you doing, honey bunny? What are you doing?
Wee-wee, you need to get in your bed.
It's time for bed. Okay. Wee-wee.
She can climb out of her crib now. We need to just put her in a real bed.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay, so where were we? Oh, okay, so...
No estimated time of departure.
But they let us board. As we're boarding... like a white squall?
That's what I was calling it.
A storm.
We're looking out the window and we're like, is that rain?
And my mother texted me. She's like, are you guys going to fly? The weather's horrible.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And we're like, why are we getting on the plane right now? And we even asked the guy as we were boarding, getting ready to go down the gate.
I was like, can we take off in this weather? And he's like, well, no, I don't think so.
Why are we getting on the dang plane? We sat on the plane for an hour. More than an hour before we left.
It might be because I think the flight attendants start getting paid like when boarding starts. So I think maybe that's one of the reasons why they get the people on the plane. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's one of those things.
It is.
I think I read an article about like how airlines are starting to change that.
Oh. Well, it's also like that part takes a while, so that at least that's done, so that as soon as the mechanical issue is fixed, then you can go.
As soon as the storm's gone.
Right.
Right.
So you're at least... But it is awful, and it was so hot. Oh, my Lord. And we were both like doing this in our seat the whole time. Luckily, like we knew that we weren't leaving for a while, so we were able to stand up in the aisle some, but there were like people trying to walk back and forth.
But there was another couple that was right in front of us that had 3 kids, basically the same age, a little bit younger than Eloise, because like their 2 older ones were toddlers, and then probably 18-month-old?
Yeah, and not even, I don't think.
And she was loud and not happy.
Not happy at all. It was like getting close to bedtime. She probably had missed a nap or 2.
Yeah.
She was...
So it was like our 2 infants were not great.
No.
And then her. And we're all seated next to each other.
That was the drawback. So like flying early had its issues. It also had its benefits because the babies tend to sleep better in the morning. They get like fussier toward the evening. So having all of our flights in the afternoon and evening was probably setting us up for a little bit of a failure because they were just crankier and overtired.
But we thought we were going to land in St. Louis at 6:20.
If there hadn't been delays, it would not have been near as bad.
So instead of landing in St. Louis at 6:20, we landed at about 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, about 9. And then we had to wait for the hotel shuttle.
And our baggage.
Which was 45 minutes, maybe an hour.
It was bad. And we were standing in the wrong spot, and it was bad.
So finally we get back to the hotel to pick up our car. And actually the drive home was
so smooth.
Thank God.
Yeah.
The kids slept the entire time.
It actually did kind of work out great because that put us in the car like I mean, it was like an hour later than we had been putting them down for bed.
Right.
So they were like ready to go to bed. And so they pretty much slept. There was some fussing and crying.
But not much.
Not much. And so they basically just slept the whole 3-hour drive home. Which was like a godsend because my nerves were shot.
But it was funny because, so we did 4 total flights. And 3 of the flights were just flawless, and we felt like rock stars.
And the babies were like sleeping on our chests, and I was tandem feeding when I needed to.
And we were getting compliments from everybody like, oh my gosh, they're such good travelers.
Yeah. And then the last flight.
And then the last effing flight.
And the last flight was when I was boarding. I was probably holding one of the babies, and then I had Berend Lyndle right behind me. And Lyndle was in front of Bear, and we're standing, so like we're boarding, there's a huge line. Well, first Bear's like, Lyndle, go! And he's like shoving his suitcase into her. And Lyndle's like, Mommy's not going! Mommy, go! And I'm like, Lyndle, do you see the whole line of people in front of me? Everybody's in line here waiting to get to their seat. Like, we just have to wait here. And we're standing in first class. And first class is already seated and they're full. So then Lyndle's standing there and she goes, Bear, I just tooted in your face. And I was like, Lyndle. And she goes, I'm just kidding. I just tooted. It wasn't in his face. It's like, oh my gosh. So all of first class is just like, they were not amused. There wasn't like chuckling and oh how cute. It was bad. Yeah. And then the babies were all crying and
so we got humbled.
We did get humbled.
To say the least.
I feel like crying newborns isn't as like gear grinding as a screaming 2-year-old.
Oh, for
you know
sure.
what I mean?
1,000%.
Like that's worse to listen to throughout a flight because they're, I don't know.
I don't know though.
We had both of the newborns were crying.
Right, and Ada has a pretty piercing cry.
It's pretty
when
intense.
When she's PO'd, you know it.
Yeah. And
Alice's like this little sweet little.
I know her cry is just like, it's so subtle. I don't know.
Yeah. Very tame.
Yeah.
It's funny how, because that's how Bear was when he was a baby, and Lyndle was how
just
Ada
like,
is.
Yeah, just like Ada.
So weird.
It is weird. But yeah, so then you can imagine when they're crying like that, I'm trying to do everything I know to do to soothe them. And the plane's 900 degrees, and so I'm like trying to breastfeed them, but like there's people everywhere, so I can't just like completely whip it out, but then like I'm trying to keep my shirt kind of down, and then it would be like they would try to latch and get my shirt and they get super pissed off, and it's like this dance of, or like if you put them down to breastfeed and that's not what they want, they get real mad. And then you have to like put them up and your whole boob is just hanging out, or you have to like keep them in a position they don't want to be in while you put yourself back in. And then I had just sweat rolling down my back. We do have this little fan though that was an absolute godsend. It's like a USB chargeable fan that will clip onto something.
I think that was was that our first ever sponsorship?
It wasn't a sponsorship, it was like a gifted thing. Like
but
they were like, we'll give you these $8 fans if you mention them in a video.
Right. Was that our first ever?
No, because we were here when we did that, and HelloFresh was before.
Yeah, but
that.
we got them in in South Carolina.
Maybe it was then. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
Cloth diapers. Some cloth diapers were gifted too. Anyway, that thing ended up being like heaven.
A godsend.
Yeah, mom was like joking that we shouldn't have brought it. Like, oh no, we needed that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm ready for bed.
Okay.
Aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we'll be back tomorrow night because we're going to do our traveling tips. Probably. If not tomorrow, then like 3 days from now.
Yeah.